and welcome to your special needs program, Nine Magazine program, where they come to you every Monday on SLBC TV, and we look inside the issues where surround persons with disability, and they bring your life story them. They come with discussion, field interview, and more on MDAs them, local international partners, teachers them, parents, communities, and people and safe where they live with disability in the country. My name is Yvette Cole-Smith. We topic for today on program, we say waiting at the impact inside the Revised Disability Act, the rights and same way so the inclusion. But inside the program today, we go bring the views from participants them, where them inside the Ministry of Social Welfare, inside them we talk about the Revised Disability Act inside 2021, and same way so the Sierra Leone first visual impaired where they don't call to bar. We'll get for tell you about the journey inside education business. We guest inside the studio. I get two guests today. I get Samuel POV Macaulay, we are the operations manager for One Family People, and same way so Usman Dumbuya, where now people where they attend the Romans International Academy. Usman want to become a broadcaster, so this program will help for developing skills for become a journalist. Well, if you want to take part in the program, you can be part of the program by sending in your text to 076-637-533. Sorry, the number is 078-636-473 or 090-63-6473. You will send your text to this number there, so it will read them for you inside the program. Because we not start the program quick, we got to go to the guest where now Mr. Macaulay will come up from the One Family People. We go carry up more inside the Revised Disability Act for 2021. Mr. Macaulay, welcome to the program, Special Needs Talk.
Thank you very much, Fambole Monado.
You know, so we get previous acts, now we want to get the new one. So one for know what is the difference from the old one to this revised one where they try for develop or where they don't develop for personal for Kango inside Parliament.
Alright, considering me a layperson and by extension I want to talk to my company name and then for me to understand exactly what we mean by the revision of the act. In 2011 we began the Disability Act will be passed, and this since 2011 to now 14 years. Now if na pikin you born from that time to now, it will don't sit back, which means there are so many things that will don't happen across the country or all over the world where don't make the actual beget to a very large extent not as useful again as it is supposed for be, because a lot of progressive laws then don't come where if we add them to the Disability Act now, it will make the law more comprehensive. And also before this 2011 Act, where now because Sierra Leone domesticates what we call the UN Convention, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, when I lead we for make we get this Disability Act. Before we get we not be get any laws like this, so it will be a novelty. But now with this revision where they go on, Bokutin and the way came for be very clear. For instance, Boku categories of disability be the way they act before not be recognized, and we make some people they go for services and they not able to get their services then they. Now with the revision of the act, a clear definition of the type of disabilities, people will actually know which type of disabilities they recognize as disability.
Okay.
Also, because we work directly with beginning and youth with disabilities, we make sure that we advocate that we not be get any laws the way they deal with the beginning or the parents of beginning with disability. So because of that, what thing that happen is that most of the time that category of people were left behind, or children of persons with disabilities themselves. So we make sure that when as part of advocacy, some of them categories there or some of them conversations here we not be again before, make we get them now. And most recently the advocacy was we don't discuss disability for so long, but we get so many different organizations all man they do their own stuff. Why can't we have a national strategy for disability inclusion? So instead of we just go do every organization does do in own stuff, make we all come together and use one strategy for implement actions we will solve the issues of persons with disabilities in the country. So we advocate that within the Disability Act, we also give a mandate to the Commission for now develop a national strategy for community-based rehabilitation. We will make sure the services there reach people with disabilities.
More talk about this CBR, because now a new section we come with inside the Revised Disability Act. The CBR, waiting actually in the for the community-based rehabilitation, like how it will try for change the life of persons with disability.
Okay, community-based rehabilitation now one of the most universally adopted strategy for disability inclusion. Several countries that we are unfortunate for visit and study the disability programs, and we see persons with disabilities they actually they receive services. Now countries that will adopt community-based rehabilitation. It begins in countries like India. Now if you look at the population of India and some of the poverty rates, now some of the communities in India, it makes service delivery be difficult. But now within the community-based rehabilitation strategy, you get 5 pillars. You get education, you get livelihood, you get social inclusion, you get empowerment, then you get health and rehabilitation. Now if you're able to address all them 5 different areas they also for persons with disabilities, you don't give them a comprehensive rehabilitation plan. So what they can do, because most of the time we address issues of persons with disabilities inside conference room, but when it comes to the communities, then we see that the way they are there, Mafubo, the other side of the country, we're not able to get services. So instead of we focus on this conference room disability inclusion, let's do disability inclusion within the communities.
Because the issue of acceptance is very key that in communities are so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a very big challenge. So if the community is not able to grasp and the community is not able to embrace the idea, you will see projects will come. After a while, when the project's money done, they forget about that intervention, then go past something else. But if we don't create sustainable solutions that are embedded in the government systems, that way when the projects they phase out, government came for continuity and at minimal expenses, because it is owned by the community. The process is owned, the strategy is owned by the people.
Okay, my left first, not just take waiting the Minister of Social Welfare talk during the discussion, meet with persons with disability and say so OPDs them within the Ministry of Social Welfare, and he get this talk for talk, and he talk one key side, Mr. Macaulay. It's about 50%, 15%, but I don't want to talk about that 15%. Let me just listen what the minister talk about.
Yeah, Mina Melos coming in the Minister of Social Welfare. Well, we began an IR today with stakeholders, including the Commission for Persons with Disability, the Sierra Leone Union on Disability Issues, other national and international NGOs, all within the disability space, for do a final touch on the Review Disability Act of 2011. This act, family members say now from 2011 that we passed this act, and from 2011 to 2025, now like 14 years, a lot of things don't happen, or a lot of things don't come into play in the last 14 years, and it's very important that we review this act. For example, 2011 will not be the talk about AI, just some of the changes, even in technology and everything. So we believe say this is not the time where we for review the act, and if they in line with the current happenings in the world. For example, the Annan Berlin Declaration will come on the World Summit on Disability. Then they set on come with new things, then we go make the disabled persons their life will go before, such as the 15 for 15, when 15% of all development resources where then they do if come 15% of that for go towards the development of the persons with disability. We also they look at the tripartite recommendation where they talk about participation of persons with disability in elective and appointive position. I think these are all progressive things where will be needed inside the Disability Act, because if they talk about inclusion, and His Excellency the President, he always it always key about running an inclusive government, and we all don't see. So now that let make this Disability Act will not be Russian, because we want to make sure say it inclusive in every form, and whether in a political, economic, social, we make sure say we do a thorough work with the key stakeholders them for make we get the things that inside, particularly where they make the lives of the persons with disability improve and become better. So now that we do now also today, and now we send them to the Attorney General's office, because now they come out, then self don't do a very good job, and it come to we. So we now don't look at them. So now the final we send out to them before we go back na cabinet, where cabinet get for go approve them, and then we will lay on the parliament. So we don't progress with the process, and we hopefully for done and lay on the parliament before this year the end, by God in power. So I'm glad for waiting happen also today, and the representation. Imagine we begin from 10 in this morning, and now we're done over after 5 o'clock. So this is really good, and I'm particularly happy that the key stakeholders they all be present today, and everybody make very meaningful a contribution, and I believe say that a progressive legislation now in Parliament will pass.
When you really make the statement, you emphasize to do more partners them for support them disability radio and television programs them. Whose final word you want to give of that?
Oh yes, because the disability issues then are issue of more of advocacy. Because if you want if you want for be more inclusive, you therefore deeper advocacy, and the role of the media is very important. And so most of the engagements therefore be with the media, both print and electronic, because we want to make sure say not only that the voices of the persons with disability are heard, but also all their concerns we for able make sure say the one that we already in authority for paying attention. Because for example, inclusive education, the country get free quality education under the leadership of His Excellency the President. We for make sure say they participate and they are inclusive. We for also make sure say healthcare, so for able forget all the important thing here for the accessibility, for all the thing here we get for make sure say we push on advocacy. So now that will be message also to the development partners there, and the NGO they always come, both national and international, and even the organizations of persons with disability, for make sure say we continue with the advocacy, because now that will help for let push the implementation of this act where Parliament could not pass.
Well, that's the Minister of Social Welfare in name Melo's committee, and we talk about different things there. We talk about the inclusion development, we talk about 50% of development resources. We will go to development of persons with disability, and we talk about how if we're able to strengthen the hold of the national body itself, that are the people that really live with disability. But before I go to Mr. Macaulay, make I go to me other guests, we now people of the Women's International Academy, we in name now Usman Dumbuya. Usman, make a time to you, because me and you may talk on a phone and we don't do a program on radio. I don't want to tell family watching now. Who that's not Usman?
Thank you very much, Auntie Coolsmith. To my parents them, friends them, and everybody where they listen me or where they watch me right now on the TV. My name is Usman Dumbuya, a pupil from the Women's International Academy, SSS 3.
And Usman are visually impaired and he don't go SSS 3, and how will they talk about inclusion? Usman, how it may look like from where you go from 1 so now we don't go SSS 3? You encounter any discrimination?
So many discriminations, but in my secondary level, I just want to say that I just want to give the Almighty God the glory, because forget visually impaired pupil like this, or forget speaking with visually impaired where they attend school and reach up to this stage here, it really not easy, because it really tedious though, because alone here the discrimination is too much. We they get discrimination in we schools, community, even among we parents them. In fact, we they facing discrimination. Yeah.
So Usman, after you see to us, what you want to do, because you tell me you want to become a journalist. I don't know if you print, electronics, whose area you want to take.
Well, by His grace of God, after when I don't take me WASC exams, me career or me course where I would like for go it na mass communication, and I would want to be a professional journalist and a prominent journalist in society, and I would want to make me parents them and my colleagues visually impaired them also will be proud say yes, we get a prominent visually impaired where they make name now the society in terms of journalism, and the area where I go want for day into now
electronics. That's what you want. Can I SLBC?
Yes, na my institution this, and it don't say where I be the plan for get this kind of opportunity for get a program like this, or for be a member of SLBC workers them.
Okay, let's thank you to Usman Dumbia, people of the Romance International Academy. Like and to Mr. Macaulay, because I go through this addition I do the act itself. As I say, inclusion very key there. And now Usman said the inside with we maybe talk about, because the inclusion development of itself, because me and parents, I know say amount of inclusion there, but another areas in the way it's very difficult to go to as a parent forget picking way na disabled, and you know ever wish that for somebody forgetting disabled picking. But since the advocacy, when I said don't they talk about the inclusion and more look at the development, because I know for talk about waiting will go to now the inclusion itself, but I look at the development, how this act will able to give body to the inclusion, so that we the parents who picking and go to school we go get collats now us.
Yeah, I think for a very large extent, what we need for do is we need for the test the laws, and for all the times then where we don't test the laws, the percentage, so the success rate has been really massive. But then most of the time is that we can always try for settle disability-related stigma cases or issues of discrimination. We can like for settle in-house, and I feel so that they make other people also they become more bold for still they attack and accuse persons with disability. Because if we don't say somebody to do this kind of stuff here, we test them, we sue them in a court, and we get judgment in their favor, it will send a very strong message to other people that you not get for just discriminate against persons with disabilities. But then, besides the discrimination, I feel say one of the biggest things we they look at also is about the development process itself, the development world, and this is where the Anand Berlin Declaration get for do with get for be very important, because that 15% affirmative action, if it cuts across all development programs, it will really do wonders for the country. Make we take for example waiting they go on now that the different NGO them, where say then I mainstream NGOs. When you go with issues of persons with disability, they say no, we're not getting disability programs. But in actual sense, if you have a program for children, there are children with disabilities. If you get a program for women, there are women with disabilities. If you get a program for youth, you get youth then will get disabilities. So in general, what I try to say is this: if we able to make sure say we implement the affirmative action with the minister they propose based on the Anand Berlin Declaration, then in itself will give you a very strong foot for lobby. Say, well, what about the 15% affirmative action on disability inclusion?
So this 15% is possible for them to work?
Well, if the president, you see, one thing we're glad for is that the president is modeled as an inclusion person.
Sure.
When you look at the way they do under the women's empowerment and everything, now we look at a very simple, if we say 15%, we still get a whole 85%. And I know that the president, though itself, the chief minister, writes a book on radical inclusion. So this is the time where we for come off from speaking the talk, talking the talk, and now actually putting it into practice. If we really believe in the radical inclusion that we are actually proposing, then this is the time now for we come back to the drawing board and say, let's have a 15% affirmative action. This is what the whole world has decided on. Balinde, they get the conference, and everybody sign up to that 15% declaration. Sierra Leone is not an exemption. Make cabinet pass this, and I trust that if cabinet pass this will be a turning point for disability inclusion.
Let me look at the social inclusion, that's on transportation, health, and all that thing. But key, because I get video on transportation, we can show let me talk about how it fits into this new act. What are some of the facilities and when you look at?
Well, generally, this particular act, they talk about availability of services, which means every service, include education, transportation, every service where human will need for daily existence, for be provided. So just like how everybody get need for transportation, people with disability also get need for transportation. So like with public transportation now, if somebody get wheelchair, they get access to it.
And that comes in the vulnerability.
Exactly. So because we are we are saying we are providing transportation, but then are we making provisions for the less privileged? Are we making provisions for persons with disabilities? What are the preferences the way persons with disability get? How can a child with disability access some of them buses there? So where will they use? You see, some of these are challenges, like even the side and usai the silon for wait for the vehicle, the transportation, the footpaths. How person with disability they access some of them. Some of the even the pothole, the slabs the way they work up now a death trap. Are they with a colleague who is also a writer, Mr. Ibrahim, now also a person with disability, and Teacher B, a very popular person with disability, really good on disability advocacy. He said in a worker on top there slap them. He missed and go into one of their holes where get serious injuries. So most of this time we see slabs then they open.
So we need lots of advocacy.
So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Yeah. There's a lot of work.
Well, we come with this video as a short documentary when we come in and put together, though it's inside English, we never put and create. But this basically for the partners then made them see the need for say persons with disability. We need transportation for them. We're very friendly. When they're able for go inside and they feel like say they belong, because it's all part of the inclusion itself.
I'm SP the Programs Manager in the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Today we, the Ministry of Social Welfare, call persons with disabilities for hope on the process we will start on 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, I would say. That is the review of the Persons with Disabilities Act 2011. A new bill, I would say, at this juncture, as a person with disability and a long-standing activist in this sector, it's a progressive, several changes to come. We need to say better off the lives of persons with disabilities.
Transportation has become an increasingly daunting challenge for persons living with disabilities in Sierra Leone, especially for school children, youth, and women with disabilities. Many areas such as the routes from Frabe Road through Upgun, Ferry Junction and Waterloo in the Western Rural District are difficult to access due to poor infrastructure, attitudes of public transport service providers, and the lack of accessible transport options. These are not isolated incidents, but represent the daily reality faced by persons with disabilities as they struggle to navigate public transportation systems in Sierra Leone. The challenges extend beyond transport. Persons with disabilities in Sierra Leone also face significant barriers in accessing quality education and health care. Schools and health facilities often lack the necessary accommodations such as ramps, trained staff, or assistive technologies, making it harder for PWDs to receive the services needed. Social stigma and discrimination compound these difficulties. Students and youths with disabilities often encounter exclusion and negative attitudes from the public, limiting their participations in everyday activities.
Calvaton. Una take them Calvaton. Na Calvaton, brother. Brother, take them Calvaton. Una vacuna no de do so. Calvaton,
In response, the Dorothy Springer Trust is actively working to minimize these transportation challenges, recognizing the public's attitudes and the inaccessibility of transport systems. The DST has been a critical advocate for change. To address these barriers, DST recently acquired a specially equipped minibus funded by LF and supported by OFP to provide accessible transport for persons with disabilities. Beyond transportation, DST has also launched a groundbreaking course aimed at improving teaching techniques for special needs education in Sierra Leone. This initiative represents a significant step towards sustainable inclusion, empowering educators to better support students with disabilities across the country. Through these efforts, DST is lighting the way toward a more accessible and equitable future for all Sierra Leoneans.
Well, that's not just actuality for sure now how we community, persons with disabilities, especially disability, and they suffer for going to school in terms of transportation. But we get another guest, but I don't mean calling him because he not been come earlier na the program. In name na Amidou Boubacar Sano, in a newly called to the bar visually impaired person, and we don't challenge the odds, and now Papa God on say to Abubakar, I want to welcome you to the program. Tell me your journey to that side we don't reach so as a visually impaired person.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, presenter, and a very long journey really, and almost it only become over the years a taboo for like somebody who is blind for become a lawyer. Everybody in Sierra Leone don't get a kind of myth or thinking. So if you directly go make it possible, don't become the first impaired visual barrister and such to be called to the bar. The journey not be actually easy, very rugged, you know, very, very challenging, very wherein it's just about a matter of faith and courage, and I get people that we 1% so on the game will also believe in me. So really the struggle we go through will be very much challenging. The experience we have to get, you know, losing the sight, and the unbelievable words have the from people who are not expecting and will take and say like everything about me.
So you're not born so?
I'm not born blind, man.
Okay, let's talk some about that side. How it happened?
So as I say, really, me I lost my sight one day. One day this one grab and I also give me friends.
You know, I know me the
I be scratch since I did class 4. Me I be scratch. But because I lost me that, so I only get that kind of attention with me, you know, because
somebody will carry your hospital.
Yeah.
Where your mommy?
My mommy be at the province, you know, even there with me because as I lost my sight, so they can left me blind school. I did it for many years. My mom never can say actually find me for say I can visit Piki because they all lost hope for me.
Acceptance.
No, they said they feel so discouraged.
Yeah.
So I even to extreme say well, like when they see me the pain, so in Paris and I say well, you know what, I mean. I say, see, the boy, nobody when it sounds so you see, you let prefer God take your life now. Yeah, it was very, very sad. So that make today we're gonna make us persevere, become very strong and determined for really ensure see and restore me dignity and respect to have been lost over the years, or something we are never settled for. It will be actually very easy.
How you really get access to them textbook then?
Yeah, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. You want to become a barrister because the books are so voluminous. Yeah, already get books here. Now all the disabled libraries for somebody who don't study law. So it's not because of determination and I will use my phone for go YouTube, do research with my phone. You cannot even get a laptop at the starting of the course, maybe the year one. At some point, be the use, and it was very, very challenging.
So, you get anybody will help you? We can help you?
Yeah, I get success ambassadors. I get somebody with Sonia or Williams. Now, my strongest supporter will be there with me. Will always encourage me. Will say, I mean, for able to go do other things. I go for do the drafting, deeds, NDC. So people always time penalty, but any always tell me say, I mean, don't worry. You see, that's why the fact that is limitation in every human being, but you can do it. So that my mama is so believe me, and also my mama Sonia Williams, he always ready for support me, always deal with me. Yeah, he always deal with me. He even give me token every month. He give me allowance like this. So you see, that's why things not be easy for her, but he really do very well. And
see, we talk about the chief minister.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we look into that? Are we able to
help you? Yeah, the chief minister, really very helpful. Yeah, I don't know over the years. So when I don't convocate Najima, that was the 16th of March 2023. So I belong here the inspiration, the drive was and if I go for the bar, because that was my biggest aim. So but I'll be actually challenged when it comes to equipment, because it might be used and just like a desktop, you keep charging, pass lights down and lights they go. So I don't see that thing. Then my brother, Mr. Samura, talk to me, say, I mean, you don't have to see chief. So chief said,
so wait, how we help you?
Chief give me money. Chief give me money. Give me money, say, I go buy the laptop and buy the recorder. Okay. So in years, he also talk to me, motivate me. So now even I promise chief. I say, chief, I say, for payback, I say, no matter what, I say, I deliver becoming a lawyer. As you talk and do, as I go do am. So and did go answer me. So we are. And give me my buy gadgets then,
So you then gadgets in help you greatly? Yeah,
help me greatly because my show might buy for me over there. So don't say, maybe with the sick bag, that is Sonia Williams. So so when you give me that again, that help it to me. The machine I be used now for study. So if you get example state or text now, they use my own desktop I get when you keep charging because now a keyboard I don't offer with. So the machine I buy for which give me now this for study because it to charging, how to study with. So I do record at least for record that notes in my class when picture at the top. I record I go listen, I try for type.
But you get to braille where you use typewriter or what?
Yeah, no, I desktop that is now. I will chief money, the money chief.
So all things are digital.
Yeah, computer really use technology because it's a right now. I left for exam from go year 3. I left for any this again.
Continue for day with you inside the program. The name now Amidou Bakar Sanko, newly called to the bar when a visually impaired student. We not care for call say blind because I'm a mother, so sometimes I know how for use the word in the because we I made the story is the journey to talk. Like continue back Mr. Macaulay from One Family People. The act, so don't you waiting I made you explain. This we try to talk about the CBR because the acceptance when I come into the I'm gonna bring kind of parents them inside the act itself, it's a good thing. Because we see say Amidu in mama in family all mean pull and they all act well and thing. So let me look inside that thing. What you want to say on Amidu's story into the act itself?
Thank you very much. Amidu's story it's very similar to a lot of other picking the regular disabilities, their story. But then unlike some of, let's say 80% of the others, Amidu is among that 20% way the rejection and the depression fear them for do something better within life. You get other people who are not as resilient as Amidu way, based on all that kind of rejection and depression, they take them and then probably go into drug or different other stuff. Then we add to the disability and so and their functionality. So for me, I feel say what in CBR they do and what in we they do at the moment is we're engaging the parents, we're engaging the communities. We need to go back to the basics. Disability inclusion not solved na conference room. This is something we've been saying over and over again. We will design the nice policies, we will design the nice program, but unless those programs are operational and sustainable within the communities, it cannot work. And the only way it will be sustainable and where it will be able to work within the community, one is when you involve persons with disabilities themselves. The other part is also when you involve those who are directly affected by disability. And I can always like for say this, we are all one way or the other a candidate for disability.
Sure.
If you not become a disabled by accident or something, old age can disable you. So you just get to make sure say we create the enabling environment now for make sure say people with disabilities get access to their service every day. And that for me, for one, especially for Peking, is empowering the parents and the caregivers. Going back to the community, because sometimes the mama they can accept the Peking. Like there's a community where I go na Cambia, this Bobo Alhaji. When the mama born the mama wants it Peking, but the entire community say don't born devil. So the mama then at the community with the Peking, and then it sets in and say if you continue for daily, then we'll kill him, then we'll kill the Peking. So that was a very depressing thing. And therefore move her out of the community, go back into the community, sensitize the community, make them understand the medical cause of Alhaji condition. Now, after a while, Alhaji now they live peacefully within the community because of that reintegration program, that community sensitization and awareness lesson. Now we are targeting the mosque, the churches within the community, the chiefs then. So now we all the district they work with, try to partner with the chiefdom development committees. So we want to work through the religious leaders, the traditional leaders, for raise awareness that disability sometimes not to demonic something where or not to something where contagious where if I can because I get a visually impaired friend, this will get visual impairment. In fact, there's this way we're so archaic and all. Imagine if somebody with a disability come, the person get there. He said not going near making no go born. I'm like I don't know if not me background because
I think somebody gave me second people. Somebody talk about they say they can't born other people in the talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And most of the parents and caregivers, some of the conversations with them, you know, we can even encourage the mama and papa una try back for born another Peking again because in most cases they can even afraid. Say after they don't born the first Peking with a disability and make the if they can't born back the other Peking will get
the same one. I born take 3 back.
Exactly.
Even the 3 them they talk say Peking they go talk.
Exactly. So these are the challenges. But then I feel like we have a responsibility, and this is where parents like you get a voice, and this is where young people like Amidu and Usman Aya get a voice for play because what we can do is we need to take these role models, people who have people with disabilities need to tell their own stories.
Exactly.
It is about time that people stop telling the stories of persons with disability because we believe that persons with disabilities themselves have the capacity to deliver their own stories. The parents of children with disabilities have that capacity. So our role as organizations is to empower them, create that voice, that platform for voice and agency that they can now tell their own stories. Imagine people like Dr. Abs and so many other people that they can.
They all don't come up.
Exactly.
And you say we get a beautiful story, you are going to tell people in this. As I tell you, I don't know if you say Arthur go reach, that's how you go sit NPSC and now you sit Beke.
Exactly.
So at one time when they sit the Beke, at what I want me because the journey was challenging.
Very.
So now I get
easy make you get somebody where they then kind condition and they take the can alone. Not easy. Not
but I think so we need to
ask
for himself for let's say will be part of the presentation so people will understand the speech impairment community. Yes, like to you, Amidu. Usman, like to you, Usman. What inspired you for becoming a journalist?
Wow.
What inspired you because you watch
the name, the word first of all make I think far because if I can go back to my primary level, I get somebody when I'm young senior, even Amidu self there. Now we big one then a blind school. Now make we see he come again that kind of honor there, and I really appreciate. So I get somebody where I be admire so much by the name of Ibrahim Jallo, where they do mass com, and but in other salon right now, but they do mass com.
So now
yes. So I really admire them, and where it can come, and even this woman where I mean, do they talk about Auntie Osho? Yes, he can go blind school, they motivate we, encourage we, even they give him money for CC, we not go discourage and always motivate we, say we can do it.
Okay, now if you Usman, I go to Amidou. Amidou, how determined are you? Where are you now?
In fact, my zeal will never be dwindled. I always determined ever. For ensure see me within you and examination, I choose somebody in life and try to change the meter in society. That a negative attitude, really, the greatest thing. Really, keep set we back. We don't determine, but you see, you cannot do it. Me, I never determine. And even as I don't call to deliver my gospel, I'm going to work with the government in my gospel. I didn't try to seek for a scholarship for going to masters in our jurisdiction, which is more empowerment. So I know why they come. I'm going for serve the country. I go for really create the platform. Let me put it in bold and say, for me, they don't say indeed, disability is not an inability. And in fact, to me, disability is an unpopular type of ability.
It's a special design.
Yes.
Something is unique.
Honestly, no.
Very unique.
It's very unique, but people don't understand. And disability being very congenital because you know what you think, say, you will become blind, but sometimes you can't, you know, even set, you never expect that. So you see, so it's a kind of it's a crisis really because it puts you back. So they can really prepare with society for that.
For accept that. Every people them born today, their parents say that kind of a civic education for create awareness, for even for the teach the same issues in an institution from primary or level, not the level for you can get awareness. So that stigma, that negative attitude. So we really go for doing every time. And very much important. And that ever before. Okay, let's that can turn Mr. Macaulay back because we don't get the first visual impaired. And we always don't try for teach sign language. It's possible for law get sign language lawyer and hearing and speech impaired lawyer.
I think the laws are at the moment we get a lot of progressive reforms then that the law that within the judiciary. I feel like there are a lot of work that needs to be done for me to reach it, but I feel it's not impossible. I can remember there was a time where I think Mr. Ture, we're currently at the principal from the
School for the Blind.
He wanted to be a lawyer, but then the technology not permit her. So many other people are
not for the visual impaired for become a particular profession. A particular profession. But the deaf and dumb is difficult.
No, it's also possible. It's also possible, man.
It's also possible.
Because time don't the kitchen.
Let me just clarify this. Why it be difficult for them at that time? Because if they use typewriter, computers were not
many times.
By then, even with regards to the assessment and all, the books were not there.
Not there.
At the moment,
we put that to create. Also, the program
the book will not be there. YouTube not be that advanced. So a lot of things will not be there. AI not be there exist, and also a lot of things that were accessible to other people. They
not be there.
So me feel so. What we need for do is that we need for create firstly. A very progressive educational system.
Exactly.
We are in people with disabilities able for we create alternative assessment methodologies because at the moment we still use that with traditional and archaic system.
Even your thinking as well.
If you not sit examination, when picking sit examination, if you miss this mark or miss this spelling, it means that you not sabi waiting they do. When there are different assessment methods we can use for make the picking progress into different stages. So I feel say that the thing is
the first you go begin see it, you go begin get ability for become
serious.
Let's man time.
So the first advocacy is about firstly, let's have a very progressive educational system. And then the second one could also be can the judiciary also be so developed that we can able for accommodate all categories of persons, not just as defendants or applicants.
Okay, plenty. Thank you, Mr. Macaulay, Nina Samuel, POV Macaulay, Operations Manager, One Family People. I mean, get inside the studio. Amidu Bubakar Sadko, newly called to Bar Visual Impaired Person, and Usman Dumbuya, Winner People Women's International Academy. in self-media world month inside the program. And topic we'll look at the impact of the Revised Stability Act of 2021, the rights and inclusion, and we don't talk about who. And one to one for say the policies then go there, but we the comrade born and picking there. We get for accept them. No matter where they go to, because sometimes it's tough because the corporate is spend per them picking there, so it boku pass the normal picking way they go. Yes, at the ground the program now we will continue discussion another edition. I want to take you to the one who join me and do the program inside the studio. Abubakar Dumbuya, we get Joseph Kagbo and Semi Sumamed Lamin, where they all help me inside the program. The one who they in the machine, we get Tosan, where na the operator inside the program, and same way so meaning that Yvette Goldsmith. I want to thank you to the IDESNet team, where we advocate for this sustainable development for inclusion in the country. And I want to say you disabled people make sure say you wash your hand with soap and water for this mpox. If you feel the body some kind way, you want to go to the nearest health care and make them take care of you, not pay doctor, you safe. We want to say we love you and we there so for continue for advocate for now. Do you love it all picking them? May we love them, may we care for them. I want for hug Amidou, I want for take this shot and just for hug Amidou because his story really touched me as a mother. Amidou. I want for hug Amidou. Bakal.
Yes,
I'm glad for you.
Thank you so much.
Wish you all the best. Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah.
So now we end the program for today. Bye bye.